Hello and welcome to Creative Sparkle. My name's Holly and today we're doing an art journal prompt list. So grab your art supplies and let's get crafting. Hello and thank you for joining me today. So we're working in a normal journal today and we have a double page spread with a project rule. So 2 colours only, black and white excluded, and we are going to mirror or invert the colours on each page. So to begin with, for the first prompt, we're going to be priming the pages using gesso. I like to prime the pages just so that it gives the page a bit more stability, but if you feel you don't need to prime the page, don't worry. I'm just going to use white gesso and paint over those pages so that we have it ready for the next prompt. I'm also going to put some masking tape down the middle there just to keep the book together and stop anything seeping through the middle. So once we finish priming the page and it's dry, we'll move on to prompt number 2, which is to choose 2 colours and use 1 block colour on each half of the project as your base. I'm going to do it so that 1 colour is on each page. If you prefer to do it top and bottom or in a different style, then that's absolutely fine, just do what you prefer. And I'm going to use this blue paint on the right and the yellow paint on the left. So once you have your base colour down, we'll move on to the next prompt, which is prompt number 3. Use a background stamp in another colour to add interest. So on the yellow background, I'm going to be using Salty Ocean, which is the blue, to use feather stamp onto the background. And for the blue side, I'm going to be using another Distress Oxide ink, which is Fossilised Amber. If you don't have inks that go on top of paint like that, you can use the same paint again or whatever you have that's available to you to stamp the images on the background. So once we have the background stamping done, we'll move on to prompt number 4, which is to add strips of pattern paper to the background. The paper that I've chosen to use is this wrapping paper, and I'm going to be taking each of the squares that you can see and just tearing them and sticking them down with Mod Podge onto the background. If you just wanted to do strips of pattern paper or book pages, you don't have to take images like I've taken. Whatever you think goes with your page best, and I've chosen something that the colour will match the background quite well, and the theme seems to be a feather or bird theme as well. So whatever you feel goes with your page the best, then choose that and we'll work together on the next step. So now that's all stuck down, the next step is 5, which is to use a different medium to add interest to the paper from step 4. So I've chosen to use these enamel effect dots, and I'm just going to frame each piece of the paper that I've stuck down with the Mod Podge, and I'm going to put a border around the ones on the yellow page with the blue enamel dots and the blue page with the yellow enamel dots. Feel free to add interest to the actual pieces of paper that you've stuck down. You don't have to frame them like I've done, that's just what I thought matched my page the best. So prompt number 6 is to add more than 1 black and white or stamped focal image to your layout. Now I have these stamped images from the Tim Holtz Crazy Birds, and I'm just going to stick those down with some foam tape so that they stand out from the background. So for prompt number 7, we're going to add one of the colours to the focal images. So as they're on the blue page, I'm just going to colour the birds in different shades of yellow with watercolour paints so that I don't overtake the ink with another medium. So if the images came onto the yellow page, I'd probably make one of the birds blue, but that's not the case in this situation. So I'm going to make each of them different shades of yellow. So I'm just going to paint the eyes of the birds in blue as well, just a light blue so that they go with the page a bit better. So for the next prompt, we're moving on to prompt number 8, which is to add decorative detail or ephemera to your page. So going with the theme, I have chosen to use some feathers to go on my page, and obviously I'm going to be using blue and yellow because that's the project rule. So on the blue page I'll be adding yellow feathers, and on the yellow page I'll be adding blue feathers. I'm just going to stick them down with some PVA glue. So any other ephemera that you feel works better with your focal images or the background that you've done will be fine. You don't have to use feathers if you don't have them available to you. You could use buttons or flowers, whatever you feel goes with your page the best and your theme. So moving on to prompt number 9, we're adding white to more than one place on each page. So I'm actually going to be adding just a small amount of white with a white gel pen. I'm just going to add highlights to those images from the wallpaper that we added earlier, and I'm also going to be adding some white highlights to the bird's eyes. So wherever you feel the white would do best, you could add splashes to your background or add a different type of ephemera in the colour white. You don't have to use a gel pen like I have used. You could use paint, whatever suits your page the best, but this is what I went for with the gel pen, and just adding highlights over those images. So the 10th and final prompt is going to be add a border to your page, inverting the colours on each half as before. So I'm going to add the border in the same colours, the same paints that I used for the original priming of the page, and I'm just going to add a bit of a wobbly border to match those frames that I've put around the other images, and I'm going to be adding yellow to the blue side and blue to the yellow side. So once that's all done, I will put images at the end of the video. I hope to see any creations that you may have made that are inspired by this. So thank you again for joining me today. The full prompt list again will be at the end of the video as usual, so you can take a screenshot if you wish to do those. If you do decide to take part in the prompts, please do tag me on Instagram with the hashtag #SparklePrompts, and I will see you next time when we will turn your creative spark into creative sparkle. Thanks, bye.